So a very good afternoon to all the research scholar present here for today's session. Today I shall be taking a session on sampling errors and bias and some of the practical issues that usually as a researcher you or me myself will be facing, have been facing. So we'll be discussing on those things, those aspects today. Am I audible to all of you? Kindly, can you just give one thumbs up or maybe one message that I am audible to all of you? The delay in beginning this session was because of some technical issues. So, can I just have one message from any one of you in the chat box so that I can confirm whether okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. So yesterday we have already discussed a lot of things. So it's just a continuation of what we have discussed. We have discussed most of the terminologies yesterday, and today we are going to discuss exactly what are the errors or the biases or some practical issues that as a researcher you might be facing when you actually go to the field. Okay, so let me begin by sampling error. So the first thing, sampling error, how does it actually happen and what is it exactly, right? How can we lessen the chances of going into sampling error? So we have a jelly bean jar on the right hand side of your screen. So sampling error is the luck of the draw basically. So it's a natural difference between your sample statistics and the actual population parameter. It happens even if you do everything perfectly. Matlab, whether you select your sample size more carefully or not, it doesn't matter usually. But there are chances that some errors will definitely be there, right? This example that you can see over here, this jar on the right hand side of your screen, it has around 10,000 jelly beans. So approximately 5,000 red and 5,000 blue. Now you have to close your eyes. Basically, that is how we all collect the samples, whether you are going for probability sampling, non-probability sampling. This kind of errors definitely do happen and it stays. Okay. So now you are supposed to collect how many? 10 beans, right? By closing your eyes. Now, what happens actually in this mystery jelly bean bar? You see, the reality, the population is 50% red. So definitely you have seen out of those 10,000, 5,000 are what? Blue and 5,000 are red. Now, when you have collected the jelly bean by closing your eyes from the jar, right? You found what? You collected 6 red and 4 blue, right? Now, what is the error? Your sample will definitely say when you have collected 6 red out of these 1000, right? Uh, so 10 jelly beans you have collected are composite of red and blue. So 6 are red. So definitely when you will be writing your report, what are you going to write in that report? That my population or my sample is what? 60% red. So 60% of my population consists of red jelly beans. That is what you are going to conclude, right? Isn't it? And that is what we definitely do. Say we are collecting data from 100 people. So out of that 100 people, we found that 60 people are what? Male and 40 people are female. So what do you write in your report usually? You will directly write that 60% of my population were what? Male, which is not correct. May be correct, but definitely at this point of time, taking cognizance of this example, it is actually a wrong thing that we are doing. And this is an error that we usually commit, right? So did you cheat? No. Are you bad at math? Definitely not. You just had what? A sampling error because you didn't grab the whole jar. Now, grabbing the whole jar again, we come back to the biryani pot, right? It is impossible for us to take it to cognizance the entire jelly bean bar, or as we had discussed yesterday, it was an impossible task that we eat up all the biryani, right, to find out or to give a feedback of how the biryani is, right? So this creates a big problem, right? So what is the solution? The rule of the thumb, as your sample size, it will be higher. Yesterday we have discussed that. sampling error also goes down, right? So definitely don't take 10 jelly bean bar out of that. So like here in the example I have given you, if you grab 1000 bean, there is higher chance that you come close to the 50-50 split, right? So that is how you can avoid this error basically to a certain extent. I'm not saying 100% you will be getting avoided with the error. It's never gonna happen in research. The error will stay. It will definitely stay even if by 1%, right? That is why you have the 99% confidence level. Yesterday we discussed the 95% confidence level as well as the 90% confidence level. Definitely now the main thing that we need to look at is that what is the sample we are going to select. If we select too less a sample, it creates a lot of issue and there is high chance that we come across with sample error. Okay, I hope this is clear to all of you. Just a second. Then comes the sampling bias, that is the rigged game, right? So sampling bias, what it is a systematic error. It happens when your method of picking people is flawed. That is, it is done deliberately, it is not accident. Remember the fact, sampling error may happen, I mean, something which is outside our control, right? It may happen because we are not in control of the population, the sample. But when do sampling bias happen? The name itself says bias. When a researcher is biased in picking the sample, it's not an accident. It's a tilt in the research design that favors one outcome over another, right? It's rigged, right? Like you know very well who is gonna win or who is gonna lose, right? At the very beginning when you started your game, right? So it's a fixed, it's a match fixing, you might say as well. Okay, now type A, what is the, I mean, what are the different types of sampling bias we talk about? Okay, first one is your selection bias. So we look at the Instagram effect. I mean, I'm just giving an example, taking into consideration Instagram. Most of you might be there in Instagram, right, using it as a social media tool. And nowadays it's quite popular even for collection of data. Okay, people use Facebook, Instagram, X as a tool for collection of data, right? Because you can, I mean, definitely it depends on your study, your area, what kind of study you are looking at. So a lot of things are there anyway. So this happens when some member of the population are more likely to be selected than other. Like you want to know how much the average person exercise, you conduct your survey at the entrance of a CrossFit gym. एक जिम के बाहर सुबह के 5 बजे तुम अपना सर्वे करने के लिए पहुंच जाते हो, right? And then what are the results? It's very simple. First thing, you have collected the data at a particular point of time, right? From one particular place only, right? So your data says that 100% of human, that is 100% the 100% of the sample that you have collected outside the gym, they enjoy flipping giant tires before sunrise, right? So they are very, I mean, energetic people. At morning 5 o'clock, they go to the gym, they enjoy gymming, they take up the huge weight and other kinds of things. I do not know, I am not a gym lover, right? But what have you ignored? You have ignored the rest of the 99% of the population who at 5 o'clock are currently sleeping, like me, myself, or eating toast. Maybe someone of you likes to wake up early, but not for gymming purpose, but for the purpose of having a good diet in the morning, maybe, or so, a cup of tea, coffee, eating toast, right? So that means what? You have collected data only from where? You should have collected data because your study was to find out what? How much an average person exercises. Does people, all the people in a particular city, in a particular town, in a particular country go to the gym only for the purpose of exercise? Because people can go for exercise, yoga and other kind of thing from their home itself, but you are ignoring them, right? So it's the Instagram effect. That means what? You are only taking into account those who have what? Social media platform Instagram being used by them, right? So you are using the Instagram user only. So this definitely makes a kind of a problem, and it's called the selection bias, right? Selection bias because you are only taking into consideration one aspect over here, avoiding other places from where you should have collected the data. Clear? Type B, non-response bias, the ghosting effect. What is it? This happens when people who don't answer are different from the people who do. What does it mean? It means that you send your survey questionnaire to 100 people, right? So out of that 100 people, 50 people have just deleted your email or your link to give the responses, right? And the rest 50% forms your sample, right? Now out of those 50%, like one question may be asked, how much do you hate filling out surveys? So 100% of them said that we love giving responses whenever survey comes to us, right? So what about the rest who have deleted your email, who have deleted the link at all, who are not interested in, giving you any response? It means what? They are haters. They don't like filling out surveys. But you see, you are not getting response from them because they have ghosted you. They have left the survey. They don't care about giving any responses to your survey. But do you consider them for your study? No, because they have not responded you, right? So this is another bias that you are committing. This is the non-response bias. Then comes your type C, that is your self-selection bias, right? What is self-selection bias? The angry reviewer syndrome. This happens when people volunteer themselves for a study, right? So you are only considering people who come to you themselves for giving some data, right? You are not taking into consideration those people who may also have been a part of your study, but since they were not coming to you on their own, so what have you done? You have excluded them. You have excluded them from your study, right? One example you can see, look at a 1-star review for a restaurant. Review, what is the review? The waiter breathed too loudly or the waiter spoke too loudly. So the customer, he got very much angry, right? He gave a 0 out of 10 star, and he also sworn on them that I'm going to call my lawyer upon you, that your waiter is speaking too loudly to me, right? What is the bias? Many of the customers who go to the same restaurant, they have almost a okay meal. मतलब ठीक है, खाना अच्छा है उधर, response भी अच्छा मिलता है, reviews are quite okay, right? But what have you done? You have only collected data from whom? Those who are angry with that restaurant. So you are avoiding all the rest of the other populations, you see, right? So this is a self-selection bias which is committed by you as a researcher, and it needs to be also avoided. Okay, now we make a comparison between the errors and the bias. You see, the archery analogy, तीर जो होता है, I hope you know about that, right? So first scenario, you see, perfect research. What is the perfect research? All arrows hit the bullseye, that is in between the mark, which is you are targeting as a researcher, right? Academic meaning no low error and no bias. Fine. This is a perfect research. Usually, chances are 1 out of 10 that might happen actually, right? Second comes your sampling error. Errors are scattered all around the bullseye. So side में है लेकिन बीच तक पहुंचा नहीं है. Okay, high error. Okay, it may happen as I told you, but it's not having any kind of bias, right? Error and bias both are different. Error doesn't happen deliberately. Bias happens deliberately because the researcher allowed it, researcher committed it. Okay, sampling bias, all arrows hit the top right corner far from the center. तो center से दूर जाके hit किया है, ठीक है? Low error consistent ही होगा obviously, definitely, because everything is rigged over here. High bias. Nightmare, which is the most difficult thing. Okay, what happens? The arrows are scattered in the trees behind the target. So टारगेट में तो लगा नहीं, कहाँ जाकर लगा? जिस पेड़ में टारगेट लगा हुआ था उस पेड़ में जाके लगा, बाहर गिरा, नीचे गिरा, इधर गिरा, उधर गिरा, right? What is the academic meaning over here? High error, high bias. It means that we have failed as a researcher, and it is time for us to find a new job. Okay, so this is how we compare the errors and the bias using the archery analogy. Now, how do you fix it? Right. Definitely, as I've already told you, errors and bias may happen. Mostly, bias is something that we need to control more. Errors, this is sometime what happens, it goes out of our control. We cannot, right? So, to reduce sampling error, simplest thing is increase your sample size. That is the small n, how we represent the sample size. Okay. So, more data equals to less random noise. As in the case of the jelly bean jar, we have already seen that when you are collecting only just 10 numbers of samples out of 10,000, there is high chances that we commit sampling error. So the more we take into account 100, 500, 1000, the less there is chances of such kind of sampling error. We come across to the more precise mark of 50-50 chances. Okay. To reduce sampling bias, use random sampling. Stop picking people you like or people who are nearby, right? Don't go for convenience sampling, right? Better go for random sampling. At least in random sampling, simple random sampling, the most simplest one, as we have discussed yesterday, everyone has an equal chance of getting selected for the purpose of your study. Okay. Then, to reduce non-response, what can you do? So sometimes this quite happens that you have submitted the link or you might have met someone for collecting the data, but they're not giving any kind of response. What you can do? You can offer a bribe. Well, this is not a good thing, but sometimes you can do bribe in the form of, say, let us have the survey over a cup of tea, over a cup of coffee, a samosa, right? Fine. So that is one way of, meeting with people. People should also be interested in giving you responses. And how do you, meet them, convince them? That is a very, very, interesting method that you might have to adopt in the future whenever you are going to collect first and data. Right. Whether it's first and second hand doesn't matter, but the thing is that you need to collect the data and you need to go for some way or the other, right? So offering bribe, yeah, that may be done, but I'm not talking about offering bribe in the form of money, right? So that depends on researcher to researcher how you may, prepare one strategy and collect the data, correct? So summary for the student so far. Sampling error is a mistake by chance. It's like tripping on a flat floor. It happens. So गीला floor है, चल रहे थे, गिर गए, हो सकता है, right? Sometimes that do happen, right? But you have to look for the wet floor mark as well. That is how you can avoid such kind of error. And the dangerous thing is the sampling bias. It's a mistake by design. So it's like building a floor that is tilted 45 degree and wondering why everyone is falling. So if your building is tilted, definitely you are going to trip down. So it means that your foundational research design was improper. You did not follow proper research design. As a result, what happened is that your research is going nowhere, right? You are shooting the arrows, but it is not going into the bull's mark or nearby. Rather, it is falling nearby the tree, right? So you need to avoid sampling bias as compared to sampling error. Sampling error is something which happens by chance. Bias, you have done it. You are the culprit. Remember, as a researcher. So then the next thing is the practical issues that we will be facing when we go for collection of the data. Okay. So we start with the sampling frame. What is the sampling frame? It's the frame within which we find all our population from which we are going to collect the sample. Okay. So sample frame is the actual list of names or elements from which you draw your sample. A frame error happens when your list doesn't match your population. It's basically when you are targeting certain group, but your frame, okay, it doesn't has that, I mean, matching population in it. Then how do you collect data from? That is the problem. Okay. So a funny example, the digital ghost town. So imagine you want to study the shopping habits of senior citizens, say 70 plus. What is your frame? You decide to pull your sample from a list of active Instagram influencers. Okay. So definitely there are so many Instagram influencers. So from since you are following only one social media platform, Instagram, so you are collecting samples from there itself. What is the reality? Your frame is missing 99% of your target population. You will end up with data on grandma's favorite TikTok dances instead of her actual grocery preferences. So, whom are you collecting? Say, for example, in Instagram, you'll find mostly they are the reel maker, right? Mostly people uh, on Instagram, they have an account for what purpose? For showcasing some reels, funny reels, dance reels, these reels, that reel. There are so many varieties of reels, right? So it is full of that. But what is your study about? Your study is to understand the shopping habits of senior citizen. But you have selected the wrong sample frame. What happens now? You are going to get inaccurate data, or you are not going to get finished with your study at all, or you are going to create some sampling bias. If the list is wrong, the sample is doomed before you even start. Okay. So this is something you need to understand. Okay. Then another big issue when you go to the field is the accessibility, the VIP problem. What is this? Sometimes the people you want to talk are guarded by who? Many other people. You want to reach the CEO of an organization, of an institute, right? Or you want to meet the vice chancellor of certain institute, right? But do you think you get direct access to meet the vice chancellor? Do you get direct access to meet any renowned person? No, definitely no, right? So you want to meet, say, Mr. Mukesh Ambani, right? Do you think you can directly go and meet him up? It's a nearly impossible task. So you want to meet Mr. Mukesh Ambani. What is the research about? Stress management in top executive, right? So your plan. What is your plan? You decide to walk into the headquarter of Fortune 500 company. I mean, this is a list of 500 big companies, right? And you want to speak with the top executive or the CEO. Okay, for a time around 15 minutes. So you have a questionnaire in hand and you are going to just interview him or her, right? Reality. What is the reality? You will be tackled by security before even you reach the elevator. So you go in front of the headquarter office, you will not be allowed to even enter without any proper appointment or a reason, you see. Right? You have to have some authorization letter, this and that, permission from so many people. I tell you, I'll give you just one very small example. One of my research scholar, uh, around 2 years back, she was conducting a study on the stress management since the stress management thing has come up over here. So she was collecting data from the oil refineries. So you know that Assam has a lot of oil refineries over here. So there is one oil refinery here at Bongaigaon. Okay, it is the Oil India Limited's refinery here. So she had to collect data from the executives working there, and for that purpose, obviously, she will have to get some permission from the HR. So the HR, our phone denied, our mail denied. She tried again and again, denied, right? So there was so much of denial for almost 4 months. She tried to reach out. After that, she went physically there with someone who has access with the HR. Only after that, she was allowed to collect data, right? And with again another condition that whatever data she collects, definitely it should be used only for academic purpose. Secondly, she has to also provide the results of the data being collected, you see, to the organization, right? So These are some of the practical issues definitely you are going to face when you go to any organization for the purpose of collecting the data. This is called the VIP problem. Okay. So the next is your the bribe bias. So incentives and quality. What is it? To get people to respond, we do it sometimes. We often offer some incentives to get some responses in record time. But the incentives can change who responds. So what happens is that when you are providing some kind of incentives, there is high chances that whatever results you get, right, they may be biased. Why are they responding to you? Because you are providing them with something. Take for example the samosa effect. I call it the samosa effect, right? We are very famous over here with samosa. West Bengal is known for samosa. In fact, samosa is something which is loved by entire India, if I'm not wrong. So you are conducting a survey at a university fest. So what are you offering? Free hot samosa. जो भी आएगा उसको एक समोसा मिलेगा अगर उसने 20 पेज का ये क्वेश्चनर फिलअप करके दिया तो. जस्ट इमेजिन 20 पेज क्वेश्चनर. You prepare a 20-page question and you give it to me, I might not even fill it up, right? So again here, while building your questionnaire, you have to be very careful. Why 20 pages? Is it justified, right? These are the very simple thing you need to know when you are creating your questionnaire, right? Response rate becomes less when the questionnaire is too large. So anyways, here definitely one researcher has come up with 20 page questionnaire, I mean, maybe justified, but problem is that nobody is responding. So he or she has come up with a strategy. He has gone to a university fest, right? Now in the university fest, definitely many students will be there, right? And what is he offering? Ek samosa. Answer de do, ek questionnaire fill up karo, ek samosa leke jao. Result, you get 500 responses in record time. मतलब दूसरे दिन अगर तुमने समोसा ऑफर नहीं किया होता इतना रेस्पॉन्स कभी नहीं आता. बट हियर व्हाट हैव यू हैव गॉट 500 responses within a very short period of time. What did you spend? You spent on the samosa to get the responses. Your study is over. Your target was 500. You have done it. Finally, congratulations. But you see the issue now. Half the forms are filled with gibberish like name, Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, age 900 years, 500 years. Now, why did it happen? Because the students were just racing to get the samosa. Your data is now 50% potato fueled fiction. ठीक है, उसमें सिर्फ आलू भरा हुआ है और कुछ नहीं है, right? So you are creating a kind of bias over here, remember. So even if you go for this bribe kind of a thing, you need to be very reserved, very careful whom to offer and from whom I can get response and what is the technique I am following. So these things are to be done very, very carefully. Okay. Case study. So let me just give you this understanding from this case study. The mega trade fair disaster scenario. What is the scenario? A local beverage startup, Justy Go, okay, wants to launch a new caffeine-free energy drink. So there are a lot of energy drink in the market. Name it Sting, right? Red Bull, so many, right? So a new company has come up, but before they launch it in the market, what they are doing, what they are targeting, they are trying to get proper feedback. Okay, so what they decided a sample survey during a 2-day university trade fair. So university is conducting some trade fair, so definitely it will be a gathering of lot of students and lot of professionals, staff, many people will be there definitely, right? Now the sampling plan, what is the plan that the researcher has defined? Target population is students and young professionals. Age is 18 to 30 years, and because they're targeting it's a energy drink, so they're targeting only the youth people, okay. So sample size over here is 200 people. Method, convenient sampling, right? Stand at the entrance and ask people. So what method you followed? Convenient sampling now. So whoever comes in front of you, they happen to become your sample. Practical issue, the weather bias. So what may happen now? You see, when you go to the field, what actually may happen? Okay. The weather bias on day one, it rained heavily. Ekdam barish diya. ठीक है? Only the nerdy students who were already inside the library showed up. The social students stayed home. So since it was raining, जो एकदम पढ़ाकू स्टूडेंट्स था, लाइब्रेरी में था, इधर उधर था, आ गया वो लोग, ठीक है, उन लोगों ने रेस्पॉन्स दे दिया, ठीक है, बाकी रेस्पॉन्स कोई नहीं दिया. People, the students who are more social, so they thought that it's raining so heavily, why should I go to the fest, why should I go to the university, they avoided it. The time of the day error, the researcher only collected data from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. So 10 से 12 बजे के बीच ही डेटा कलेक्ट किया. They forgot to collect the data when mostly people who visit such fest for enjoyment, right? That's in the evening hour, that's in the evening crowd, right? So they miss that, right? The non-response issue, the survey was 5 pages long. So 5 pages ka tha. Ye bhi bada hai, right? The busy students who were actually running the trade fair stalls refused to answer. Definitely, in a trade fair stall, if you are running it as a student, you don't have time to give response to anyone else, right? You will only definitely be very much, absorbed in your job at that point of time. Then the social desirability bias, because the researcher were wearing Jesty Go t-shirt, students didn't want to be mean, so they all said it tastes great, even though it tasted like battery acid. So definitely those were collecting the data, those who were serving the drinks and then collecting the data, collecting the feedback, right? So sometimes what happens is that the respondent or the sample from whom you are collecting the feedback, they don't want to be mean, right? मतलब कैसे उसके सामने मैं मुंह में बोल दूं कि ये चीज एकदम खराब है, बकवास है, अच्छा नहीं है, right? So sometimes that kind of things are avoided. Clear? So they don't give very unbiased response. It is mostly the biased responses that you are going to get from them. So when you get biased response, right, it creates issues, because now you see the company is going to get responses that their Jesty Go drink is very good, very nice. So when they commercialize it in the market after huge production, and in reality nobody is purchasing it, nobody is liking it, they are going to get into a loss, right? So you see now what data you have collected and what actually is happening is totally different, right? So this is another practical issue that may happen. So what is the summary that we come across so far? The researcher's survival guide. To handle practical issues, researchers should follow the real check. What is real check? First, R for representative. Does my list actually look like the crowd? So the sampling frame that we talk about, right? So when we are building our research methodology, after we have decided our topic, the first thing that we need to understand, that we need to do, is to prepare a very good research methodology, a concrete research methodology, right? And who are actually our population, who is the sampling frame, and is it highly representative or not? That's a thing that you need to look at. Then E, easy to access. Am I picking people just because they are there? This is the question you should answer yourself, right? Easy to access or not, it should not be taken into consideration. It should be taken into consideration that I am taking everyone into my study who are or who should be a part of the study, right? Accuracy, are they giving me samosa answers or real answers, right? So when you get back your your questionnaire filled up very soon, right, there are high chances that most of the questions have not been read. मल्टीपल चॉइस क्वेश्चन है, उधर कुछ भी टिक करके दे रहा हूं, ठीक है? सो यू आर गेटिंग समोसा आंसर्स, नथिंग एल्स, because you gave them a samosa to answer, so they are giving you samosa answers. That's it, right? And the last one, logistics. Do I have the time and petrol to reach the outliers? So this is the question you need to again ask yourself when you are selecting your study, selecting your sampling frame. You need to look at the fact that do you have enough logistics to reach the point from where you will be collecting the data. Okay, this is the thing that you need to make the real check before deciding on your study for moving forward with a particular topic. So, final thought from this lecture: in theory, there is no difference between theory and practice. In sampling, there is a huge difference. Okay. And it usually involves rain, grumpy security guards, and fake names on survey forms. So, theoretically, whatever we discuss over here, it's all theoretical in nature. Remember the fact. When you are actually going for performing or conducting a research, the practical thing that I'm talking about, the practice that you are actually going to do, you are going to encounter lot of issues, right? Lot of issues. There is no perfect research. It's quite understandable, but we need to do error free, we need to do bias free research. That is what, as a researcher, the minimum thing that we can expect, we can perform. Okay. So with this, we come to the end of the practical issues in research. Any queries from your part? Please let me know. Please do let me know if you have any queries. Maybe from even yesterday's discussion and even today's discussion. Or do I need to repeat anything if you are, I mean, confused about certain things, certain terminologies, maybe? Okay, so if there is no queries from your part, I have one small, I mean, quiz for all of you. I'm going to share the link. It's a 5 minute quiz on whatever discussions we had since yesterday. Let me just let yourself, you test your concept of whatever we have discussed, whether it is clear or not. You will get a clear picture, and even I will get the feedback appropriately, that whether I was able to make you all understand the topics or the concepts clearly or not. I'm going to share the link to the test, to the quiz, in the chat box. It's a 5 minute. I'm just giving you 5 minutes. There are 10 questions. Okay. So I'll just share the link over here. Just give me some time. Okay. I have shared the link. Okay. This comment has failed to post to PhD. I'm not sure why this is happening. Madam, if you are there, I'll just share it in the private chat. Can you just share it with them, with the students? I've shared it in the private chat with you. Please share it with the students so that they can get the link and make a trial of the quiz that I prepared for them. Because I think I cannot have comments with them. Yes, it is being shared. I can see now. Thank you very much. So once you start the test, you will get 5 minutes, everyone. The test will conclude on its own within 5 minutes. You have to submit within 5 minutes. You can get your score as well once the test is over. So I'll be waiting for another 5 to 7 minutes till some of you, I mean, fill up the, I mean, give the test, right? After that, we may conclude because I am not aware that how many students are in the group having these online classes. If some of you have submitted, you can just leave one message here in the chat box so that I can be aware that you are able to submit. This link is not active. Please check once. I think it should be active. I can already see it is working. Try once. Yes, madam. Yes. I gave them a quiz. I think some of them are saying that the link is not working, maybe. I'm sending you another link. Just check it once. It should have worked. Just check once. Ah, please try with this link now. I think it should be working. Someone may kindly confirm if the link is working right now. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so I think all of you have received the link already. So you may go through the test yourself. You will also get the score after you have submitted. Uh, at the same time, I'll be definitely getting the score on my end. So I think we can end the session. So good luck to all the students, all the research scholars in your endeavor for research. So hoping that you will be able to overcome all the, I mean, difficult phases of the research work that you are going to undertake, right? So with this, I would like to just end up this session. Thank you, Riddhi ma'am, for this opportunity. Thank you to sir for giving me this opportunity for uh, presenting my lectures. So thank you all. With this, I think we may conclude. I'll be leaving the session. Good luck to all of you once again. Thank you.